The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, and welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to Scott Roberts, and I'm going to ask him a series of questions, some of the myths that you may have heard about buying a pool route. And Scott is going to kind of give you the truth behind all of these answers, or some truth in these answers to these myths, or these things you may have heard about the dangers of buying a pool route, or some other things you may have heard. And I think he covers it really well, and you're going to hear firsthand from someone with a lot of experience in the industry, not only as a pool service owner or a pool service professional who owned his own route, but as a business owner and as someone who's been selling routes for a very long time now. And I think this will clear up a lot of the misconceptions about buying a pool route. Pool Service Pro, open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. Let's touch on some of the myths about buying a pool route. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about buying a pool route, and there's a lot of people that are totally against it. For whatever reason, they have this kind of thing in their head. So let's start with the first one. People think it's better to build a route, and you touched on this in the first podcast about sometimes the struggle with doing this, but it's better to build a route from scratch in many areas than purchasing service accounts or buying a pool route.
Okay, no, I mean, it really, it's going to always depend on somebody's availability of time and how much they want to grind it out. Starting with zero accounts, just think about what you're doing there. Just think about what's ahead. You got to find people that'll say yes. You got to go around in the first week, month, 2 months with 1 or 2 or 3, 4, 8 if you're lucky, and just service those accounts. How much money are you making on that? So your gas alone, everything, you're not making anything for a while. There's no reason to do that. Unless you have no money in your life whatsoever, and you cannot obtain the funds to purchase a route, then you have to, right? Then you have to do it. It's like anything else. But if you've gotten to a point in your life that you even have $30,000 to get into the pool business, do it. Because from day one, you're going to start paying yourself back. You get all the money from day one in training. Even when you're training, you're making all the money. Why would you chase? It's like stepping over, what's that expression? Stepping over a dollar to pick up a penny. Okay, it just makes no sense. Spend the money, buy something, a very secure investment like what we sell here, National Pool Route Sales. Okay, deal with the right people, buy the right type of route, have the right things in place, all the securities. We have more security in place than anyone else out there. Period. In fact, double most of the time. So that where everything's going to transition over. So buy something small if you need to, and then grow it. That's okay, but have a base. People like some credibility when you're starting out. Oh, hi, I'd like to service your pool. Oh, really? How long are you doing this? Oh, I'm just starting out. Oh, who do you do? No, I don't really have any accounts. Oh my God, you've got to find the first person to take a chance on you, which can happen, right? Someone will do it, but why do that? It just makes no sense, Dave.
Yeah, and especially with the availability of the routes out there for sale in your area, you can probably find one in just about any of the major pool markets out there. And you mentioned the return on investment. If you compare it to other industries, let's say real estate, if you buy, a house or a unit or a duplex, the return on investment for that could take you up to 12 to 14 years to get your money back. Whereas with the pool route, you purchase the pool route. What's the average return on investment on a pool route purchase?
If you're an owner operator and you're doing things yourself and you're able to handle everything on the route, it's 10 to 14 months.
Yeah, so that return on investment is just phenomenal compared to other investments that you would put the money into. So I don't think we should neglect that aspect of it, that you do put the money out, the cash out, but you do get it all back within 14 months. At the worst case scenario, a year and a half.
David, yeah, I mean, what I have to deal with buyers calling me sometimes is that, first of all, I've done this myself, right, for years. So I've made every mistake there is to make, and I've had every success within reason, right? So I tell people, just learn from my trial and error, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to expect. When I get done explaining this, people, David, then I have to fight a little bit to explain that I'm not lying to them, no, this really is the truth. They're like, well, that sounds too good to be true. I said, well, all right, how about I tell you it's terrible? Then you want to buy it? I mean, it kind of, I mean, it is what it is. People sometimes might talk themselves out of something because they think it's not real, but it is real. And it's all common sense. You're really buying yourself a really good paying job that you are responsible for your own destiny. Isn't that nice? Not worrying about someone else who nobody can ever put you out of business. How's that? I mean, how about that? Nobody can fire you, put you out of business. Doesn't matter. That to me, that's why so many people. We sold over 13,000 routes. These people. I said, look, you're not the first person who's thought to do this, okay? And we're not the only company doing it. This happens all day long.
Yeah, so the safety net you mentioned in another podcast we talked about. And so one of the things that people are hesitant about is, okay, if I buy this route, what if maybe someone moves or I lose this account or we don't get along, maybe they don't like me? What happens at that point when they purchase the route and maybe they have two accounts that they lose?
Yeah, I would just say don't buy from our competitors because, I don't know what they're going to do. Okay. I hear all the time from, the horror stories about the brokers go away. They never hear from them again. Well, we're there to help do the whole process. It's not going to really happen. I mean, the rate of lost accounts going through a transition with ours is unbelievably low. And we hold money back in escrow for months after the closing, guaranteeing that recurring income from the seller. It's a seller guarantee. The seller has 30 days to replace any lost accounts. Okay. If they can, it gets refunded for what they paid in full for that particular account. So if Mrs. Johnson's account goes away, let's say she sells the house and collectively the buyer and seller cannot get that. They can't get that new owner. All right. Well, now the seller has 30 days to replace it of equal or greater value. Okay. They say, no, I can't replace it. I don't have anything else to do. I'm retiring. All right, no problem. It comes out of the escrow funds that we hold. Sellers are made whole, as long as they're not doing anything egregiously wrong themselves. Like, they can't take over. It's all logic, right? And fairness. They can't take over a route, skip Mrs. Johnson's house for 3 months. The pool's green. They don't return her calls. Well, that's not the seller's fault. But things that are all logical and make sense. And, like if somebody doesn't pay them or isn't happy with the transition, which almost never happens, we handle things in a very smooth way. There are horror stories when you buy from, certain like Craigslist, or you buying little routes here and there where there's no. That's why people go with the right company. Like we're the biggest, doing it for the longest. Go with us. There are a lot of protections in place, and you're going to have the idea is if you purchased 50 accounts at the end of 3 months, you have 50 accounts one way or another. If 48 have transitioned and 2 haven't, well, then you have the money back from the 2. You could buy 2 more, which you probably wouldn't, but we teach you how to market and then acquire accounts ongoing through our marketing. Through our mentoring program, which is free. We show you how to grow. That's why people do well with it.
Yeah, then another one that I hear all the time is that, well, if the seller's selling the accounts, they're all junk accounts, or if the seller's leaving the business and the business isn't running well, and so if I'm buying this thing, I'm just buying junk accounts. You've heard that one before, right?
That's true, and you just figured us out. Yep, that question, and thank you. I would suggest never buying a route ever. No, oh my God, junk accounts. Well, first of all, okay, we don't, with us, okay, I cannot speak for the competitors out there. We do not take sellers that we feel uncomfortable with. It's just that simple. Okay, we're not idiots. Okay, we know. I've been around in business over 25 years. I myself, Chris Webb, who's our CEO, he handles the listings. Not much gets past us. Okay, when it really comes down to it, we're not going to take. We side with the ethical standards here. We go with what we feel comfortable with. We have to sleep at night. Okay, that's how we operate. So sellers that we are taking on as listings, we just don't have many problems. Occasionally, a couple things here and there, but it all gets worked out in the escrow transition period. It's in the guarantee period. But bad accounts, look. If someone is putting on a customer list a bad account, and remember, there's a lot of due diligence that goes into this. The buyers get to literally see the customer list ahead of time. They get to view it at the meeting. They get to see the geography on it. They get to sit down, go over the QuickBooks, go over the payment histories. They can look at bank deposits. My God, somebody would have to be an absolute thief, which is felony if they try to represent and mislead people like this and sell fraudulent anything. We just haven't. We haven't had that. It just doesn't occur. there aren't bad accounts. And if there are, they get worked out during the transition period, and it would be a very, very minor percentage.
And I guess I should emphasize that you are a pool broker, just like any other kind of business that does any kind of sales and that of that level, like a business broker or a real estate agent. You can't sell a house to somebody that's a junk house that maybe has structural problems that, and you have to do your due diligence like any other industry. So I think that we should make that clear that you're a professional industry out there and you're not just a company like a used car sales lot.
Oh my God, no, definitely not. And maybe one of the even stronger, what's so strong about this versus even real estate deals, and I have nothing against real estate deals, is that when you buy a house, people usually, hire they're supposed to hire an inspector to come in. An inspector can do only so much. Okay, they can catch the obvious things. They're not inside the walls. They're not ripping apart the plumbing. And so things that might occur a year, 6 months, 2 years later when you're buying a house that a lot of sellers will never disclose, or maybe they were even unaware of it, right? It's like your SOL, as they say. That's on you. Too bad. No wait, no recourse. With us, there's a seller guarantee in place. Okay, 3 months afterwards, meaning if any of these accounts, and that's going to be like 13 visits out to the pools. How many visits? You're going to know exactly what's going on after 2 visits. 13 visits. The buyers get to, during the transition, they get to speak to every customer. They get to know them. They get to ask them, hey, yeah, this is great. We're going to transition. People will tell you, no, I'm not doing this. Or how about this, David? Who are you? I clean my own pool. Who is this person? Don't you think all that shakes out, David, during the transition period? That's why we needed 3 months. There's not that much to worry about.
The other one that I hear a lot too, and this is hard for people to get their head around, and I hear this a lot, there's no real value in a pool route. After all, it's not a physical business. You're not buying like a burger place or a car wash or something like that. So explain the value of the pool route to someone listening.
Anyone that understands a profit and loss statement is going to look at the expense side, right? They're going to look first at how much they're taking in, gross, right? Gross revenue. And then you're going to look at your expense side, and then you're going to see, and you're going to subtract B from A and come up with C, which is your net profit, right? Or your net operating income. All right, wonderful. When you have less, brick and mortar, to worry about, a storefront, obviously your bottom line goes up. That's why these things have an ROI of 8 to 14 months on an owner operator route. Maybe a little longer on a larger pool route company with many employees. It'll take a little longer to pay yourself back, but still better than most other industries, if not every other industry. It's beautiful to use what I always loved about this is you don't need a warehouse, right? You can work from your home, and that you have a home office, which costs you nothing additional, right? Because all of your chemicals and supplies are stored down at the distributor. Let them let them do all that. And you show up once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a week, depending on the load that you need. And you just fill up over there. Utilize, and you have a cell phone that you're already using. A lot of people already have their own truck that they're using in their personal life. There's no expense there sometimes. I mean, this is a beautiful, it's like 80% profitable, like whatever you're billing out for the pool route. I mean, how nice is that? Where else can you say that?
And then the other one that you get all the time is the pool industry is too unstable. If I buy this route, the economy goes into a recession, then I start losing accounts. So, this industry is a service industry, and service industry are affected badly by recession. So it's really unstable. I don't want to get into it, put my money in an industry where I could lose business.
Here, I'll make a statement. Let's see. So back in, 2008, right? We had the recession. Remember that? All right. So here we go. I have learned now the pool service industry is recession proof, absolutely recession proof. Okay. Even people that built pools that I know back in 2008, all those years, built pools, even did some renovations, maybe those sides of the industry suffered, and they did. Okay. But what did not really suffer very much, and what kept those companies alive, were their pool service routes. I know many people that have told me those stories, kept them alive. Okay. And these are companies that were doing in the millions in sales. So here we go. It's recession proof, proven. It's pandemic proof for sure. My goodness. Okay. I'm not encouraging another pandemic, right? But hey, we know that when there is a pandemic, it's great for pool route sales businesses. They just do better and better. People want to go in their backyards more. They're home. What are they going to do for fun, right? People get tired of looking at each other. Hey, I'll be out in the pool. Okay, kids are home from school. They're locked down. Hey, let's go out in the pool. Go ahead, kids. Where else can they go, right? How about this? It's riot proof. I remember watching the riots. This was terrible to watch them, but I'm watching them. People still, the pool truck drove right by during a riot. Doesn't matter. Nothing stops pool routes. And here's the last. I'm going to make a prediction if it ever happens. The pool routes will be the only business that is zombie apocalypse proof. I said it right now. That's my prediction.
Because I don't think zombies can swim, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last one I have for you is, I get this all the time, and you probably hear this too. Well, I'm looking at these pool routes, and it seems like a good industry, but I'm better off putting my money in a traditional business. You know, there's a burger place down the street for sale, and I see they're really busy. The drive-thru is really busy. I'm better off putting my money there than in a pool route. What do you say to someone who's looking at just more than one business opportunity?
I'm not going to put down other business industries. I've had several. I've done well from some of them. It comes down to your level of knowledge and what you want to do and what your role is going to be, right? So if you're just an investor, you know, then you're just going to look at bottom line numbers, and that's going to be what your decision's based off of. And, you know, maybe traditional business could make some sense, right? It just depends, right? However, if you're going to be getting into something that you're going to be, you know, hands-on, either doing it yourself or even having 2, 3, 4, 5 employees running pool routes for you, I don't know of anything better than putting it into the pool industry, because it's going to be something that you should never, like I said, your rate of attrition should never be less each month than your rate of growth. It's very difficult to lose more accounts than you're gaining. It just is. You got to be really messing up and doing something really, really, really like wrong, okay? Which could always be corrected. You could do a course correction. But traditional business versus a pool route business, I would challenge anybody to tell me something that's better for an owner operator or for somebody just managing some employees where they're hands-on, because it's the scalability that is like very difficult to ever compete with. And not only that, it's not only the growth, it is adding in 2, 3, 4, 5 different avenues of stuff. That's what our mentoring does in National Pool Route Sales, right? People buy from us because we do this all for free. We tell them how to get into the renovations market. We show them how to add in extra services that clearly they can be capitalizing from a captive audience. All part of what we do. If people want to know why we do that, well, for free, well, you know, slightly circular logical, you know, goal here for us is eventually, right? People are going to sell their pool routes, right? It could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, but people aren't going to just fall down dead and fall into the pool and die in the pool and, oh, this was a great life. No, they're going to want to sell or retire and live a good life and enjoy the fruits of their labor and all their hard work, right? Well, they need to sell. And we've known these people intimately for so many years. We've helped them go from 80 accounts to 800 accounts. And we know them. It's easy for us to sell it then, right? We know them personally, because when buyers call so many times, you know, it could be somebody who's selling 60 accounts, and, you know, I sold this person, I got them into the industry 5 years ago, and now it happens all the time. And say, oh, well, how'd you get into it? Actually, Scott got me into it. It was great, and everything he said was right. I'm at 400 accounts. I'm just selling off these 60. I mean, it's instant credibility for these people who are coming in to hear that. These are real stories. So no, I have nothing against traditional businesses. Obviously, I think, you know, they can be fantastic for people, but you don't need a large amount of knowledge to get into the pool business either. You don't need a lot of credentials. You don't need a 4-year degree. You can, right, David? I mean, don't you find that?
Yeah, I think you said it right with the scalability and the fact that it's easy. You just need, you know, when you get a route, you may already have a truck, like you said. The investment, you know, for a restaurant or something else like that is a lot higher. You know, you have to buy everything that's in the business at that point. You know, all the cups, all the food. And so the initial inventory, even if you buy like a market, I mean, you're paying $60,000 in inventory there. So I think the pool industry is probably the easiest to get into, with the lowest money down and the better return and the better scalability. I mean, if you buy, nothing against I have a burger place on the corner here I go to all the time, but they have a finite amount of customers. They can maybe advertise and increase that by 5%, 10%. But what other industry but the pool industry can you market yourself? You know, give your current customers a $100 Visa card for a referral, connect with realtors to get accounts, connect with builders to get accounts. Where else can you not only go up 10%, but go up 100% in 1 year? There's no other industry like the pool industry.
I think you're right. That's actually a very good point. Years ago, I owned a restaurant. Okay, I named it after my daughter. Love it. Still there today. I sold it many years ago, but I had it for about 5 or 6 years, and it was one of my favorite things that I ever did because it was fun owning a restaurant and this and that. But I was pulling my hair out doing it. I enjoyed many aspects, but what happened with me is I had to start looking at a second or third location and a big investment if I wanted to increase my income. I pretty much had maxed out. We had a delivery, we added this, we added more days. It's like, oh my God, I'm kind of maxed out here, and I was still pulling my hair out, but I had, like you said, a finite amount of money that I could make. Well, I can't, every time you increase the price on the menu, you risk losing customers. So there's only so much I could do. So I was looking into, I ended up getting out of it. I sold out of it. But right before that, I almost opened up a second, maybe a third location. It was going to cost me another couple $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to get all that going. And it was like, oh my Lord, is that really what I want to do? And I just said, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather have that money work for me towards retirement, and follow the S&P 500. There we go with that money and let that grow while I get into the pool industry. And that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah, so I think those are all good points, and I think you pretty much knocked down every myth or everything you've heard about buying a pool route, in sequence there. And you answered with logic and truth, and I can back you up with the industry being very stable and the scalability of it, and the fact that, look, you hear these stories, but a lot of them are from Craigslist, a lot of them are from individual sellers, and so buying from National Pool Route Sales is a safe bet that you're going to get something and you vent to everyone. So I hope people that hear this can be rest assured that, there's some merit in buying from a pool broker versus buying from a list on a wall at your supplier.
Absolutely, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
So you want to tell the listeners where they can contact National Pool Route Sales if they're interested in buying a route, or even contact you directly if they're in Florida?
Yeah, sure. No problem. Thank you. So to contact me directly in Florida, you could just call the phone number 561 area code. So that's 561-708-4744. Okay. If they want to reach our office in general for routes outside of Florida, they can call 877, that's toll free, 877-766-5757. So they can call that number and ask for our representatives in any of the other states. They could also email me directly at scott@poolroutesales.com or visit our website, www.poolroutesales.com.
Yeah, so thanks for your time today with these recordings, and I really appreciate it. And it's good catching up with you. I always like talking to East Coast guys because you guys are talking at 1.5 speed,
And I thought I slowed it down. That's funny. Thank you. Yeah.
That's different. California, we're like this, and you guys are just like. I talked to my aunt. She lives in Florida. She was from New Jersey, and I can't keep up with her. She's talking so fast that I have to kind of like try to pause her once in a while. So yeah, it's an East Coast thing, I think, right?
It is. I guess a little bit of our, our headquarters, our main office is out in Mission Viejo, out in California.
Okay.
We used to be, in a different area, but now we're over there. We used to be in Lake Forest, but we also have an office in Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah. So I appreciate the time again, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And if you're interested in the other podcast that I recorded with Scott Roberts, you can go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on that podcast icon. When you get to that podcast site, in the search box, just type in Scott Roberts, and the other podcast I recorded with him will pop up there for you. And if you want to enhance your business, definitely consider my coaching program at poolguycoaching.com. A lot of great benefits for joining there, including a discount on your general liability insurance. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.